Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. And after my top 10 video where I mentioned Golisopod Vileplume, I got a couple of questions about it, so I thought I may as well do a video as we are on our way to Worlds. Potentially, Golisopod is one of the cards that a lot of people have been testing and may in fact bring to Worlds while we still have Forest of Giant Plants available. This card is at its most powerful. So, today we're pairing it with Vileplume, a bit of an item lock, very aggressive deck. For me, it functions in between Vespiquen Vileplume and Decidueye Vileplume, and we know that both of those archetypes were very, very strong, and being somewhere in the middle means that this is likely going to be a strong archetype as well. We have some early aggression, much more aggressive than maybe a Decidueye list in the early turns, because we can be dealing 120 damage on our first turn if we go second. However, unlike Vespivile, we're not on deck out mode by like turn 3 or 4, and basically if Vespivile lost a Vespiquen, it could oftentimes lose the game. Well, we're using a much more tanky Pokemon in Golisopod, 210 HP, and we try and cycle him with Acerolas and Guzmas in order to reset his attack. So it is a very dangerous archetype. One of the only things currently holding it back is the likes of Volcanion, I would say. So let's start off with the main attackers. First of all, the Wimpod. Obviously, we're using the Wimp out one. It means that if we lead Wimpod and we're going first, we want to move out of him because he has the chunky 3 retreat, etc. Bear in mind we are playing 4 DCE, so we can use Golisopod's second attacks. So it's not too terrible just leaving him active and attaching a grass if you think he can tank. 70 HP is decent. It means that like Lele DCE doesn't just deal with him. So ability is great. You can move into the one of Koko that we're playing on the turn 1 if we're not able to find Golisopods. But this is the main attacker. 210 HP is pretty difficult to get over for a large portion of decks, especially when they don't have Choice Band available, bear in mind, because of item lock that we're most likely going to have up. We do play a lot of cycle in this deck, so we can get into Golisopods and Vileplume very consistently. His first attack is called First Impression, which does 30 base, and if this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active this turn, you do 90 more damage. So as I said earlier, 120 for 1 grass, super efficient damage, very dangerous, going for those 2 shots from the very first turn of the game, setting up against lower HP Pokemon for easy prizes, or just dealing with things like Lele's and other basic EX, GX Pokemon from the offset, which is very good for you. His other 2 attacks we use a lot in this deck, because once we develop item lock, our draw engine basically stops. So we essentially need to have set up either having Acerolas and Guzmas in hand, or DCE for the following turns, because after a first impression we will often move into Armor Press, which for a grass and double colorless just does 100. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks. Again, it suits the archetype. We're trying to tank hits, pick it all back up with Acerola, play it all back down because of Forest, and move back into the active to continue using first impressions. So Armor Press is a perfect secondary attack, because after first impression, doing 120, we can then do 220, which is enough to deal with other Stage 1 GX Pokemon and Megas. So we can happily 2-shot pretty much everything with the follow-up of Armor Press. And it just adds to the tankiness of this card, which is very good for you. We also have the GX attack, Crossing Cut GX, for the same cost as Armor Press, dealing 150 and switching this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. Again, this is a cool option if you're stuck in an Armor Press loop, or if your opponent is able to set up a Stage 2 GX against you, even under item lock. We can do something like an Armor Press into a Crossing Cut to actually deal with the 250 barrier, so that's important to note. We're not playing Choice Band, so it's not like we can actually ever one-shot stuff with Crossing Cut, but, you know, it's still a very good option for you. Very nice GX attack, which again, if you're being pressured and you don't have a Guzma or Acerola, you can just move out of him into like a non-EX Pokemon for your opponent to deal with rather than Golisopod. So it's a great get-out-of-jail-free type attack. Very good card overall. So the partner is going to be Vileplume. We are playing the new Oddish because Poison is better than dealing 10, and the new Gloom because Confusing is definitely better than dealing, I think it was 10 on the other Gloom as well. So slight upgrades here, but of course we're still using the old Vileplume because Irritating Pollen is the card that shuts both players' item cards down, and we're really limiting the outs of so many decks. A lot of decks are heavily item reliant. Think about the Stage 2s out there, the Gardevoirs, the Metagross, the Vikabulus, they all hate it. Greninja is obviously a great matchup because we have Golisopod, but we also have Vileplume as well. There's some megas out there like Rayquaza, which needs Spirit Links. There's all sorts that we shut down with this ability. So yeah, very powerful effect that we've seen be successful all season, paired with different things. Today we're going for Golisopod over Decidueye just because it's a lot more aggressive. We are playing the one of Tapu Koko. It suits the sort of hit and run approach of Golisopod. We can Guzma into Koko, then free retreat back in, or if it's our first turn, we can Wimp out into Koko and just send him up. What's also great is he has the flying flip. This is awesome. It gives you a bailout option against Gyarados, which would otherwise be an auto loss. Now you can, well, not actually an auto loss because you develop item lock and you stop their rescue stretchers. But with Tapu Koko, basically one flying flip plus item lock wins you the game outright. We also set up numbers a little bit better sometimes, and it's just another non-EX that we can start threatening. If you just set up Vileplume, sometimes against some other evolution decks, you can just flying flip like 2 or 3 times and start dealing with their board that way. So, very good card. You never get punished for him because he's an ideal starter, and he's a nice pivot for the deck for sure. Then we are playing 3 Shaymin EX, very similar shell to Vespiquen Vileplume because we're trying to draw a large portion of the deck in order to hit the Wombo combo. The stage 1 plus the stage 2 is a lot easier than something like Deciplume where you need to get multiple stage 2s up. So this actually gets set up quite consistently, especially with our draw engine. Very aggressive, and Shaymin is one of the lead reasons for that. We also have Sky Return. Again, we have Koko that we can move into. We have some float stones that we can develop beforehand, and we have more gusting effects from Guzma and Acerola, so Sky Return isn't the worst option if you need to just keep drawing cards. And finally we have Tapu Lele GX. Wonder Tag is going to be great because we can just grab these couple of supporters that we really need, and if we're desperate on turn 1 we can also grab Sycamore. So yeah, pretty good for us. Lele is actually probably like our only attacker against Volcanion. The idea being you can just attach a DC and Wonder Energy Drive, then finish it off with a Golisopod, or either way around, and hope that item lock then slows them down enough where you can get some free attacks off. It's a very difficult matchup for sure. I'm not teching against Volk in this list, but I'll talk about some alternative options at the end. Then we have one Revitaliser. We dig so heavily with Sycamore turn 1, we will be discarding Grass Pokemon. We can recover them this way. We are playing the Ball search engine of 2 Level Ball, grabbing the lower forms of the Oddish and Gloom is very important, as well as Wimpod. And 2 Heavy Ball as well, excellent in this deck because it also gets the Wimpod, but mainly the Golisopod and the Vileplume. So it's a very strong 2 count. You almost always want to see this card. It is brilliant. And then we are playing 4 of the very heavy cycle cards, Acro Bike, Trainer's Mail, and Ultra Ball. We want to be balling for Shaymin for drawing more cards, and obviously Acro Bike helps cycle, as does the Mail. It is all very heavy cycle focused, just like how Vespival used to play. So then we are playing 4 Forest. It is the glue that keeps the deck together. It's how we can develop the item lock. It's how we get Golisopods and are able to cycle them. We are then playing the supporters of 3 Acerola and 3 Guzma. They are important cards for certain. They mean that we can heal Golisopod effectively with the Acerola. It also means that if we are stalled with Vileplume in the active, we actually have 6 outs to move it, as long as Vileplume is damaged at the very least. Even if it's not damaged, we can just Guzma out. We play so many because we can't obviously play VS Seeker because of item lock. And you want to have a high enough count that even when we're Sycamoring in the early turns, we have enough to see us through. It's a lot less all in than Vespival, but there are still loss conditions, and it does sometimes involve getting stuck in the active. But at the same time, we're still playing 9 energy, so we can probably just attach out of Vileplume if need be. So bear all these things in mind. Then for Sycamore, just aggressive draw. You want to see this guy because our turn 1s are what this deck is all about. 2 Floatstone, obviously try and develop it on Vileplume if possible, but additionally it's not bad on a Golisopod because you can simply attach it before the item lock and then you can first impression between 2 Golisopods a little bit easier. It sort of reduces the strain on some resources, so this is also a good card. Probably would play more, but I just like raw speed. Then we have 9 energy counters, fairly high. I've debated going back down to 8. I can see playing 4 DC, 4 grass, but at the same time it's just so important to get that first impression off, and when you start cycling, having to discard energies and stuff, it can be awkward if you're like Sycamoring or Acro Biking them away. So for now I'm happy enough with the 9 count. Try going down to 8 if you want to add in a card, like a tech, which I could mention in a moment. Even like a second Tapu Lele helps the Volk matchup. just try and energy drive them out of the game. But yeah, I think for now the 9 count is fine. DC important for energy drive, sky return, flying flip, and the GX and armor press, and then grass obviously the main thing for first impression and the other side of your energy requirement. So yeah, that is the deck. Fairly simple, very straightforward. You just want to cycle into as many cards as possible, and then you want to develop this big board state that the opponent probably can't deal with under lock. So this Vileplume is potentially the tech card of choice if you want to not lose to Volcanion. As long as this Pokemon is in your active, as long as it's your active Pokemon, your opponent's basic Pokemon can't attack. So essentially Volcanion needs to play Hex Maniac in order to knock out this Vileplume, and many Volks don't play Hex. There's whispers of some playing Hex Maniac because of like the Gardevoir matchup and maybe like the Vikabulu matchup, but overall not many people are expected to play Hex in Volk. And if that's the case, maybe this Vileplume is a one-off that swings the matchup from auto loss to auto win, as long as you don't prize it and you can actually develop your Vileplume in a timely fashion. You can simply start attaching to this guy, starting to use its attack 60, and you don't really care about the effect because they can't attack you anyway. So you just keep announcing 60 every turn, and that will hopefully charge through their board as long as they don't play Hex. So that could be the way to beat Volcanion if you're super concerned about it. Another thing that I thought about was playing Rainbow Energy. Rainbow is pretty cool for you because it can activate Acerola. For example, if Vileplume gets caught active, you can Rainbow Energy and Acerola out of the way, but it also enables you to play Jolteon EX. Jolteon, similar to the Tapu Koko, is very handy because you can free retreat with him, but Flash Ray means that the opponent, as a Volcanion player, really can't do anything to you except Shell Trap. Shell Trap is really awkward for you, but you can Flash Ray into a first impression and then back into Jolteon later on, so maybe it gives you enough outs to beat that archetype. It's not an auto win if you play Jolteon with Rainbows, but it certainly is improved because it really does slow them down and forces them into awkward plays for certain. And some people may not even see the line of Shell Trap, so yep, Jolteon, pretty cool card, and doesn't punish you much either because it's a free retreater. Unlike the Vileplume, the new Vileplume, that'll just be janky in your hand all day if you face non-basic decks. So playing the Jolteon is less intrusive for your deck, but less of a overarching amazing card. Another thing that I thought about was playing Manaphy in the deck. One of my friends actually suggested this to me. If you play Rainbow Energy, you can have Manaphy just sat on the board, so you can free retreat between your Golisopods with ease, no matter what, and it also improves like the stall approach of Vileplume. The reason why I'm not going for this is you fill your bench with Shaymins so damn often for your turn 1 cycle that you already have the board space for Manaphy. It's sort of a different story for Jolteon because you simply search that out against a certain archetype, whereas Manaphy, he sort of has to be chilling on your bench in pretty much every matchup to get his value, and you don't have the bench space a lot of the time. Finally, for sort of item and supporters and such, I wouldn't think about playing any other tools. I think the item line is pretty okay. Super Scoop Up was something I experimented with because in the early turns it can essentially be like an Acro Bike or something because you can scoop up, find Shaymin, keep drawing, and if the lock is broken you can have more cycle, more pickups. If it's a deck that simply can't hit 210, maybe you don't even need to establish Plume. If you're playing Scoop Ups, you can just keep recycling Golisopod. The only other things I would consider: Misty's Determination. This was played into Mal Cameron's UK Nationals winning Vespiquen Vileplume list. Because you cycle so aggressively with your items in the early turns, you can't really Sycamore any longer because you will deck yourself out, but you can still dig for things like Grass and DCE, which is very important for the deck. So potentially Misty could be a one-of. In a similar vein, I'm not playing any N. N could also be a one-of option in the deck. Right now I'm being super aggressive. Maybe you play just 3 Sycamore, 1 N. That's reasonable for sure. But for now I thought I'd just show you a very consistent shell of the list, and we will jump into the ladder and see how disruptive Item Lock can be. It is a pretty good deck, so we'll see how it goes. Right, we are up against Orion Craig. I saw Dragon in his typing. Maybe it's a Noivern deck. That would be pretty awkward. One thing I'm not playing in the list is Field Blower as well, actually, I should have mentioned. So for those people who do develop Garbodor, our way to beat it is to Guzma KO rather than Field Blower off. I believe that's more efficient because we play such a high Guzma count. It just sounds like the better option. we're going second here, which is a good and bad thing. Bad that they get to set up their item lock, but good that we can start pressurizing from turn 1. So let's see what we are up against. We see a Hooper EX in the active. Maybe this is a Rayquaza. We see a Double Colorless to the active, Hex Maniac, and a Pass. Well, we got a Floatstone for the Wimpod because we were just hexed. If I play Tapu Lele, I can just get a cheeky 80 damage in. Obviously we can't get the Wonder Tag though, but we still have Ultra Ball in hand. We could Ultra Ball away like Guzma Gloom or Guzma Male and find a Shaymin to draw us back up to 6 next turn. I don't mind just pressurizing AT, seeing as though he had such a passive turn. I don't mind it at all. This deck is a pressure deck. AT sets up the Hooper for sure as well. So we'll just go for it. This seems fine. It's hardly the Exodia turn 1 we were after, but in this situation it may be the right play. Okay, it is Rayquaza. They're just going to Mega for turn. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of Guzma and Male, I think. Well, I don't know. We can cycle quite hard. We have to assume we have Revitaliser, so... And if not, we can have another Gloom in the deck. We'll grab one of these. We have a Gloom. We have Revitaliser as well. Okay, this is where we start digging and start getting into lots of cards. What have we prized? We prized 1 Acerola, 1 Sycamore, 1 Forest. 2 Acro Bike. And a Shaymin. Okay. Let's Trainer's Mail. Forest is a great pickup to have early on. Not 2 though. Okay. Right, let's start developing this. Raid does not appreciate item lock in the slightest. Let's try and get it rolling. Okay. Good start, good start. We can play this card down and just thin out the other items. We'll go Gloom here for sure. And I don't want to end on Vileplume. I want a Shaymin instead, because I want to get a Golisopod going. So we will do this. Use our last Shaymin. Still haven't supported this turn, so we could do a lot more. We can use that setup. Pretty awkward hand. We can thin an Oddish. We can attach to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Maybe DC is the best bet here. Let's just sort of all in ourselves. Get rid of some Wimpods. We do develop Vileplume and Golisopod. We can use the Revitaliser now. Get some Wimpods back if I'm going to need them. I may just Ultra Ball one back away and get another Golisopod. So Double Pod and Plume developed. Plume with Floatstone as well. This is excellent. So the Hex slowed us down, but we're still taking prizes on turn 2, and we have the board state very well developed. In our prizes, we do have a Sycamore and an Acerola. These would be the best things to go for here. Forest and Acro Bike, not quite the best targets. Okay. The opponent goes for Hex, so they can play some items. Just going to grab themselves a Rescue Stretcher for Hooper next turn, I guess. They're going to replace the Stadium, that's fine. We'll put down a Wimpod. Attach here. We can... See, the fact that he played the Stadium down makes me think he just has another Stadium hand. Because... that way he could simply play an extra card out of his hand. 2, 4, 6, 8. 80 only works if we can get the crossing cut. We should have Acro Bike here. We should thin some more cards. If we first impression, we then need to still find a DC regardless. So we should just attack with this guy. I'm not going to put the stadium in, because I think he has another one in his hand. That's the only reason he would play this without having a bench. It's the only reason. So let's just smack him. We're not threatened by the Ray if we still have item lock. Yeah, okay. Nice. Item lock just wins, right? Nice move. I mean, they had a terrible turn 1, so their one turn where they had items available was pretty dead to them. So tick those 2 boxes of what we're trying to do. You can see the strengths of this deck. Item lock, early pressure. By turn 2, we took a 2-prize knockout and also had the plume developed. That is exactly what we're looking for with this archetype. Looks good. Let's see what we're up against this time. I saw Psychic Colorless, so it could just be Grandpa. Grandpa, not the easiest of matchups. We are very item reliant, and if they developed item lock, it's awkward for us. We need to hunt down that Guzma pretty quick. Yeah, looks like we see some Trubbish. Yep, it is Drampa Garb. Drampa can't one-hit KO Golisopod though. Oh man, we had a nice hand. We could have got a Wimpod out and then double mail to try and hit some forests and stuff. Still a good hand. Okay, we can live with it. Okay, do I just get rid of both supporters here? They are the clunkiest cards in this hand. I have no way to activate them this turn, so they're both pretty dead. Because we already have Golisopod, I think Wimpod is actually our best card here. We've prized 1 Golisopod, 1 Gloom, 1 Oddish, 3, 1 Male, 1 Acerola. Acerola's important in this matchup, so it's a shame that we prized 1. Okay. Okay, let's bench both these basics. Draw 4. Didn't get a tool developed for Trubbish, so getting item lock is going to be pretty good here if we can establish it somehow. We can cycle harder here. We have the Revitaliser, so we can just get rid of these. They're clunking in the hand right now. We'll develop Oddish. Obviously we can't bench the Wimpod, so we'll draw another 4. Keeping the Ultra Ball around for hopefully when we find a forest. We will Acro Bike before the Ultra Ball because it will change what we want. If I hit a forest, I can grab myself a Gloom. If I don't hit forest, I will get rid of a janky card in the deck. Let's continue to cycle. DC is fine. Okay. So we are super all in on Revitaliser if I want to Sycamore this turn because we don't have any more Golisopods in deck. So I think we have to be content with no item lock this turn. So we'll just attach to Wimpod and pass, I think. It's not... Well, he could Guzma. Guzma would be bad, huh? 2 Wimpods in the bin already. Attaching the DC is definitely right. I just need to figure out where. If I do this, he can Guzma attach KO. If I attach a Lele, he needs to find Po Town or Magma Base. Plus a float, plus stuff. He could just Righteous Edge though. I think we'll take the risk. Okay. There's a Tapu Lele. This is likely going to be a Guzma, I imagine. Yeah. Had the Potown as well at least, so he would have taken the... Oh, wow. He doesn't have energy. Okay. That's a way worse Guzma. He shouldn't Guzma if he doesn't have the... Potown's actually super annoying. It puts us in range of Drampa. Oh well. Gloom's also going to take some damage. That's actually not a bad thing because we can Acerola it if need be. Got ourselves Grass Energy. Can we cycle into item lock here? No, we can't. It's going to be a very grim poke of 30 damage. We have to replace the stadium because otherwise it's very likely that he can get the KO with Berserk here. The 30 is actually still good because we can crossing cut this Drampa. Okay, we're going to get End. He needs to find Energy Potown Pokemon. We got End out of DCE. There's Energy. There's Ultra Ball. Does he have the Potown to boot? There's Garbotoxin. Floatstone, Garbotoxin, and just the Berserk for 110. So if we need to start by cycling. This is really good. That's a good pickup for sure. We definitely need that. Deary me. Frog in the throat. Playing all the trainer mails before the Acro Bike because I want to find energy. So I want to thin as many cards before hopefully hitting energy here. Okay, the Guzma might be important. I want to Guzma this turn, deal with the Garb. Okay, we'll do it this way. Bring up that Garbodor. Give him a little first impression. Develop Plume. Now we just got to hope this item lock sort of hurts him. Oddish off the prizes, not too helpful. There's a Sycamore. Have a bunch of items right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11. It's enough to KO my stuff. At least there's no stadium replacement. That's something. Oh, I wanted DCE quite badly there. We can't really just go in with Golisopod because he comes in with Garb. So it's just an attach pass here. Hope that he has no Guzma. He's played one, and under item lock it's not easy for him to access more. Okay, he has it. Ooh, he just goes for... Okay. 2 prizes away, 2 Garb set up. Pretty sure that's game. Let's try and see if there's a way that we can not lose here. 7, 10, 11, 12. 12 is just too many items. I can deal with 1 Garb, but he has 2 set up. He's got checkmate here. Okay. Losing to a Grand Poppers. The early Guzma was pretty good for him. Even though it was just a Righteous Edge, it really limited our plays. Let's have one more game with the deck. Grandpa is one of the more difficult matchups for certain because we are very item focused. And they also have outs to the item lock very effectively. Bear in mind they did go first. These are always considerations to have. You have to test the deck against every matchup where you go first and where you go second, pretty much, because your win rate is vastly higher than going first against everything. It's only like Greninja, where your win percentage is like the same going first or second, because you just kill them regardless. Okay, let's have one more go with this deck. And we'll see what we're up against. So far, we demoralized a Ray and got destroyed by a Grandpa. They're going to DC. It looks like it's another slow turn from our opponent. Okay, they're going to end. If they put no basic down, we could first impression them. Okay, Rowlet. Second Acerola is such a clunky card here. It's a bad Trainer's Mail. I think how weak our hand is, we just have to commit energy here. It's bad putting a forest down for him when our hand is so weak, but hopefully we can cycle into some strong cards. Okay, that's a big pickup. We'll get rid of Vileplume. We already have one thing in the bin. Okay, we don't have... Oh no. Revitaliser and Vileplume prized. Whoops. What a joke. Rip. Oh dear. So taking those prizes is going to be important, huh? Oh dear. Do I go Golisopodless for a couple of turns? Speed Shaymin. Lele Plume. Still no lock. He could play Vileplume though. Just can't even search anything good, so we'll just hold it. Don't give him the info. Pretty ugly. Ultra Ball. Has to be careful about Sky returning. Yeah, needs to get more Pokemon out. They're just going to go Lele. Or another Shaymin, maybe. Yeah, looks like Tapu Lele is the choice. We go for an N. Not too dissatisfied by this. Field Blower's fine. Is he considering both? Yeah, he shouldn't consider both. Okay, there's the N. They can keep drawing here. They have another Ultra Ball. Went for Koko, which is interesting. Koko spread obviously very good when I have 3 Shaymin on the board. Yeah, I guess that's what he wants to promote. Start setting up a Shaymin to actually Sky Return off. Hit the Koko, so if he wants to commit DC here, we can just deal with it. Koko spread kinda scary if he develops enough Decidueye. Yeah, he's happy to go Koko. Flying Flip. We'll deal with Koko. Hope to get Revitaliser. Wimpod's actually not terrible. We can get a cheeky first impression on this. Okay, we get End. They're still sort of slow developing their side. Here's Decidueye, number 1. Going on to Oddish. How rude. And Energy Drive for the first 2 prizes on his side. We'll be going for a first impression here. Sycamore's better than Acerola, for sure. Here it is. There's that, there's that. We got ourselves the big boy. Floatstone will take just a thin. Looks like Oddish will be going down next turn, but we're still putting on a good amount of pressure here. Obviously they have Acerola available to them. It's a cool new addition for Decidueye. We can't really play around it as Golisopod ever, so you just have to accept that. Looks like they're a Ninetales variant. Yep, they're going to deal with Oddish. Playing no N in this deck is pretty punishing when you don't have an aggressive turn or a few turns, but that's due to our prizes. Is the nature of the deck being quite all in. We just happen to have the awkward Ultra Ball situation, as well as Revitaliser and Plume in the prizes. Must remind you of that. That's why the board state is so weird. Okay, they're just going to beacon out some more dudes. Do I really need to put down a Wimpod? We'll just armor press this Vulpix for our second prize. So we have 2 coming from Lele, 2 coming from Shaymin. That is our win condition. Let's try and stick to that. We've got a Guzma out the prizes, which is going to help us on that mission. There's the Decidueye number 2. They have Espeon, it's kind of annoying. I mean, they can't get value from it this turn, but maybe they set it up over the next couple of turns. It might be too slow for them, actually. I think we're deceptively in this game, because we need so little. I don't know where he attaches. Does he even just attack this turn at all? Does he just retreat Koko? I'm not sure. He has an interesting turn ahead of him. Maybe he starts trying to pressurize a Shaymin and does like a flying flip. That could be his best line. Yep, that looks like what he's going for. Forcing me to chain Guzma, essentially. Which is no easy task. The thing for him is he doesn't know how many Acerola we play. There's 3 in the bin, but still. He's going to bench and Vulpix. I'm not sure I like that too much. I guess he'll be putting the Shaymins on 60. Oh, he's going Wimpod. Definitely don't think that's the right move. Don't think he has enough turns to go Wimpod here. I know the single prize is juicier than the 2 prize on Shaymin. Okay, so maybe he has Ninetales DC in his hand. Maybe that's why this makes sense. Because if he has Tails in hand, he can go ping, KO, ping, Ninetales. Try and deny it with a search card here. If we get another Golisopod, these pings are really wasteful. Oh, such a shame. Such a shame. So, losing to Ninetales would be sad. He would have to have his last DC in hand with Ninetales also in hand. He goes ping here, ping on any Shaymin, Ninetales for game. Do I play around this? Taking the 1 prize here seems really weak to our win condition. I think we accept if he has those cards, we lose the game. He can cycle for it. I can't end him out of the hand. I think we just have to Guzma. It's kind of foolhardy, but that's all we have, really. Armor press is fine. Like, even if he has Sycamore, he has to cycle for his last DC in 25. It's not ridiculous odds. He's going to go Koko. Sometimes it's a one-off alone in Ninetales as well, so it's by no means easy for him. He's going to start with the Wimpod. Okay. Takes him down to 2. He also has the awkward situation of, do I cycle, try and hit my win, or do I try and end me to get me out of win, because our hand size is pretty large, pretty intimidating for him when I'm at 2 prizes. Alternatively, he could dig for DC for Sky Return. That's another line. Give himself more time to ping stuff. Yeah, so maybe I should have Guzma the Shaymin first. I was kind of worried about the Lele. I guess if he has the Lele damaged, he can Acerola, so they're very similar now. So it was actually right to deal with Lele. Because in theory they can both like Sky Return now that Acerola's in format. They can both wipe themselves off the board. So cashing in on the damage thing means he has to attack with Sky Return, which is not winning him the game. Okay, there's a ping and just a pass? Wow. Okay. He can still win though, right? I might be able to develop item lock here. Yeah, I can develop item lock. We have Guzma in deck. We have DCE as well. Okay. We're all in on one Golisopod. This means he can't float stone out of the active. We need to play around Lysander's stall. More armor press with crossing cut, finishing off the game if he can't move this. If he has Acerola, he wins. So you can do ping, ping, pick up, ping. Maybe item lock got him out of what he needed. He also has Lysander / Guzma for game. Does he hard run 2 Guzma or 1 Guzma is the question now. If he hard runs 2 rather than 1 Lysander, he wins. Acerola is also game. Okay. Close game, but we did eventually lose. Very slow start from us. Like, the game is so different if we develop item lock. It's just the case. Every game is so different once that's developed. The fact that we couldn't access it due to prizes just completely wrecks the game. For us, at least. Gives him way too much time to build the birds. On his turn 1, he just had a Rowlet, remember? So how different the game could have been. Even with him having Beacon, I think we just have so many turns of aggression available. So yeah, awkward all round there. Let's have one more game with this deck, because I feel like it's not performing. That was due to prizes. Like, in a game, in a best of 3 situation, you scoop. You scoop that game early. What's good about Golisopod Plume is you probably won't tie much, because your games are quick. Your turn 1 is long, but your games go quickly. So, let's have a final game, because they've been quick so far. And I feel like testing this deck anyway, so I might as well just keep the recorder on for the sake of it. Testing for Worlds this entire weekend, so we'll see. See how we do. Okay, that's a mulligan. And we have the Wimp to start with. We've gone second every game, I believe, as well, which is just something to note. We are up against a mirror match of sorts. It looks like it's an iPod. Decidui Golisopod. They're going to give us the Forest, which gives us a free discard, which is cool. Now then, I think we're going to be level balling before the Ultra Ball discarding my only Vileplume this time. Let's try that, shall we? There is a Dartrix. And a Grass Energy to Wimpod. Lele. Likely for a Sycamore here. Could be a Bridget, alternatively. If he just wants to Wimp out into like a Koko or something. Yeah, just a Sycamore. Floatstone onto Dartrix and Sycamore. There's Decidueye, number 1. Level Ball. Gonna grab himself an Alolan Vulpix. Maybe that's what he wimps into. This old wimp. There's the ping. Maybe he just goes into Desi. Yeah, it's gonna go for Vulpix. That's fine. Alrighty. We'll start with Level Ball. We have a Vileplume. We don't have Revitaliser, which is important. Okay. So our discard will be Guzma and Forest. Actually, we should Train Smell first. If I hit like a draw supporter, I can just Ultra Ball for the Gloom now. Okay, this is a good thing. Good thing to dump. I think Gloom is fine to find here. We want to develop the item lock for sure. Just not like straight away. We just want to have it secured. Because now we just need one grass, one Golisopod. Because we could Wimp out and then Guzma. This is better than a Trainer's Mail. I believe we will have 1, potentially 2, potentially 3 draws. Yeah, this is better. So if we attach here, we have to go the Guzma route. So we have to draw Golisopod off 3 cards. We're running out of grass energy though, so I think we have to go for this route. So we will retreat now to draw an extra card. Oh, I misplayed. Whoops. Whoops. No, I forgot that I need to be the Golisopod, not the Wimpod. Sequencing hype. Okay, whoops. Okay, we're denying Beacon. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna whiff it anyway, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. Whiffed everything. Still develop the item lock, even though we have a weaker board side. Yeah, that was silly. New cards and all that. Maybe it was greedy of me to expect a Guzma to work. It was more the fact that we were dumping grass energies in the process with the Sycamore, which scared me. Because I feel like we need a few. We need definitely more, like, seeing as though his board state is already decent, we can't just let one Golisopod punch him 4 times to win the game. Okay, we're gonna get end. Hand's insane. Even if he does get Golisopod here. Don't know how thick the Golisopod line is in a Decidueye build. Sometimes it is not thick enough. Yeah, it's going to gnaw for the knockout with the help of Decidueye. So, remember, we can't actually deal with this Wimpod. Because Wimp out is only for the first turn. I can Guzma something and take a first impression. I think we'll do that. Let's actually evolve them this time. I think I'm Guzmaing Decidueye. So I already have Lele in hand for another Guzma if I need it. Or I could just go Vulpix, hope that he doesn't have Golisopod for one more turn. Yeah, this denies some stuff. Because he already has the Float Stone on Decidueye, I'm not too happy with it. Let's try and limit his draw via non-item cards, if that makes sense. And it also puts his Wimpod on a clock now. We can Lele Acerola. He could think he's getting the initiative on attacks if he does go for Golisopod, but we could Lele Acerola go into our other Golisopod anyway. And then we'd have initiative. Item lock, very good for the likes of Decidueye. They've only played 3 Ball Search cards so far. Okay, they're going to attach to Decidueye. Maybe it's just a Sycamore. Retreat into Lele. And then Guzma, okay. Cool, we can Lele into Guzma. This is our last Guzma, so we need to be attaching to Vileplume because we know he has another Guzma available to him. So we need to be aware of that. But we dealt with the Wimpod, which is cool. Seeing as he only has one Decidueye up, like the Decidueye sort of Guzma stall thing isn't super scary because he's only going to be getting 20 damage every turn. Unless he just top deck Rowlet and has like the God Hand. He can start beaconing actually behind it, that's scary now. Yeah, if he's going to start beaconing behind it, that's pretty grim. It's kind of why we tried to stop it, but he just had the other one. Okay. Need to start hitting some grass energies. A Sycamore would be the dream off the top, as always. There is a debate to going full Guzma to Acerola, because we've not been really using Acerola as much as Guzma. Maybe that's a change we can make for times like these. Okay, it's not Sycamore off the top. They're going to get some free beacons and a lot of free damage here. Looks like we're staring down another loss. Maybe Decidueye is the bigger grass type winner. Maybe it's just better than Golisopod overall. We'll see. Bear in mind, have to remind you that we went second in every single game. I don't think we developed Item Lock we developed Item Lock turn 1 in this game, but not in a lot of the other ones. These are all considerations. Give Golisopod some slack at least, because it looks like we're just sort of losing lots, but went second every game, didn't develop Item Lock turn 1 in a lot of them either. I'm sounding a bit defeatist, but we're still totally in this game. If he just keeps pinging down the same Golisopod, we can draw Acerola maybe. We have a lot of good draws. Even energy is fine. It's a great hand to Sycamore away as well. Okay, yeah, he's going to start spreading. Looks like he has Espeon in his deck because he's happy to leave Golisopod at 80. That looks like his plan. So this turn he'll beacon out Espeon, I guess. Or maybe just more birds. If he has the 4/4 line, maybe just goes for it. Yeah, there's the Espeon. We're in danger. And there's nothing we can do about it. Very good. I mean, it's only 2 prizes that he'll be taking. I don't think he even goes for Espeon just yet, does he? Well, he can't this turn. He should just start pinging Shaymins, I think. This whole time, if he was pinging Shaymins, wouldn't it have been just better? I don't know. Maybe this turn he puts 6 on a Shaymin. Ninetales is very scary. Okay, we've lost the game for sure now. Now he should just KO and Shaymin. He may be worried about Lele. That might be the only reason. Maybe he puts 6 on one Shaymin and then snipes the other one for 50. That way he doesn't give me board space for Lele draws or Shaymin draw. It's probably the smartest line. Oh, Vileplume, what are you like, you big chunky mushroom? Okay, he went this way round. Haha! A valuable card! Because he pretty much checkmated me if he just does the same thing again to the other Shaymin. If he puts this Shaymin on 90, puts this one on 90, surely I lose. Surely I lose. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, he's freeing up a bench space for me. That's kind of him. He shouldn't really do that. He's more susceptible to N and gives me a bench space for Tapu Lele. I think that's not correct. He should have left them both with 90. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Tired of this nonsense, that's for sure. Well, back to the drawing board with this deck. Maybe there are some tweaks that need to be made. I still like the heavy cycle engine for sure. I think maybe a 4th Guzma is better than a 3rd Acerola. Maybe that's the change we make. That was a really useless snipe. I think he realised they didn't want to actually give me the bench space and then sort of like corrected himself. We can't really do anything even though we have this energy. We can't attack because he can... Oh, he's already GX'd. Okay, I guess we can attack. In before next Guzma, I guess. Haha, we're back. So he takes 1/2 from devolving, and he takes 2 from Shaymin. Or he could take 4 this turn. His pings are weird. He's been really inefficient with his pings. Because he has 50 plus potential 60, he's like wasted a snipe here by leaving this on 10. He's been very inefficient with his... Is it inefficient? Inefficient. Yeah, inefficient with his pings. but it just doesn't matter. So I can't do anything. Now it's well played, right? Surely he can beat me now. This is at 30. 2 here, 1 here. Snipe. Yeah, he has game. Just can he see it? Because this guy can't see everything. 1, 2, attack. That's all he needs. Oh, he just doesn't even see it, does he? That'll do. That'll do. Right, so, what have we learned? The deck has a much lower win rate going second. One of the games we prized the plume, which was very sad. That was one of the causes of our losses. I think the other cause of the loss was us going through 3 Guzma before any other supporter. So potentially the 4th count is more important. There's also the option to play Rainbow Manaphy. Maybe it's one to be considered more seriously after seeing us get stalled. But for now, that's going to be it for Golisopod Plume. Maybe it will, maybe it won't show up for Worlds. Item Lock is notorious for just winning games on its own back. So let me know what you guys think about the archetype. Will it show up? Will it be the most popular Golisopod archetype? I'm not certain. But certainly it will be an interesting one. There we go though, guys. Please leave a like to this video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But for now, it has been Joe from OmniPoke, and I'll be seeing you for another Worlds video tomorrow. Cheers.